Hi all. Um, I'll start today's week two problem solving session. Before that, just can anyone confirm if I'm audible and the presentation is visible to you all? You can put in the chat box also. Is the presentation visible? I think it is visible. Yeah. Are you people there? Shall I start? Anything? Okay. Okay, great. So I'll start today's session then. So welcome all. Okay, yeah, hi, good evening. Okay, so we'll have today's discussion, week two problem solving session. I'm Rajesh. I'm a PMRF research scholar from the Department of Biotechnology, IIT Madras, and let's start today's week two problem solving session. So last time, week one was just a basic overview. I told you about evolution, Mendel's principle of inheritance, and all that thing. So today we will be talking mostly about the classification, which animal belongs to which group. So this is more, like most of the things here you have to remember. So as it is in the initial phase, just give me 1 second. Okay. So, since we are in the initial stages, you have to remember certain things. And from the next week onward, we will be having cell cycle, cell division, more interesting stuff. So, this is a kind of like last time, as I said, there are a lot of organisms and lots of animal, insect, plants. So, it is necessary or it is very crucial to devise a mechanism of classification. Just like you go to a library to find a certain book and you have your floor number, catalog number, and the section of the books. So here we need a classification system, and in this session, I'm going to talk mostly about classification. I won't be talking everything about classification, like this is the phylum, this is the division, class, order, and all the things, but just like important points. Uh, like has raised a hand. Yeah. Uh, Kundan, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening. Hi. So yeah, try to join by 6:05. I'll start. So it's always on Monday, 6 to 8. I'll wait for 5 6 minutes and then I'll start. Okay. So uh, yeah. So we'll mostly talk about classification today. As I was
I
telling,
have a question, sir.
yeah, yeah, sure.
Yes, sir. A modern theory of origin of life. Explain.
Okay, what is the theory? Okay, so keep your question. After I finish today's session, maybe I can go back to the. So this is a question from the week one, no? So I was talking about the experiment, SL Miller experiment, that is in week one.
Yes,
So you
yes, sir.
can actually have a look at the recorded session of week one. There I have explained in detail. uh, you can have a look, or else after I finish today's session, if I have time, I can definitely discuss. But for now, let's start the week two session, because today we have to talk about a lot of things. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So yeah, we'll start. Okay. So, as I was telling, we'll look at biological classification. So, if you remember this name, Linus, So it is or Carlos Linus, who is also considered the father of taxonomy. He gave the binomial nomenclature system, naming organism as two words, genus name followed by the species name. We also discussed like what is the name of mango in scientific terms. So this Linus guy, he actually devised a two kingdom system of classification with just plants and animals. Uh, and this plant and animal kingdom was developed that included all the plants and animals. But this was very vague, as the system did not distinguish between eukaryotes and prokaryotes. So if you have a little confusion about eukaryotes and prokaryotes, I have one more slide coming. You can get your concepts clear. But thing is, this guy who designed this plant kingdom and animal kingdom, but this didn't distinguish between eukaryotes and prokaryotes, unicellular and multicellular organism, or a photosynthetic green algae. You must have heard about the term blue-green algae or cyanobacteria. So it's a bacteria, but it was earlier placed in the plant kingdom. People, could you just keep your microphone in mute mode and use only if you have a question or you want to say something? Otherwise, keep a microphone in mute mode. So we have that was the problem, and for non-photosynthetic fungi was also there. There is no difference between this photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic, like fungi and green algae were all together. So classification of organism into plant and animal was easily done for our convenience, but and it was also easy to understand. But a large number of organisms did not fall into either category. Like as I said, blue-green algae and fungi were all in the plant, which is not true. So this guy in the right, R.H. Whitaker, in 1969, he proposed a five kingdom classification. So what he proposed, okay, just give me a second. I think someone's microphone is on. Kundan, can you just mute your mic? Okay, thanks. Okay, so I'll go back. So, as I said, R.H. Whitaker proposed this five kingdom classification where he named them Monera, Protista, fungi, plant, and animalia. So, Plantae is plant kingdom and Animalia is animal kingdom, but he added three more. Monera, consisting mostly of bacteria, Protista, mostly of unicellular eukaryotic organisms, and fungi. We'll have a look on fungi also. So the criteria which he considered is the cell structure, the body organization as the mode of nutrition and reproduction and phylogenetic relationship. This is the basis on which he characterized, and you can find them here in this table. Like Monera are a prokaryotic, Protista, fungi, Plantae, and Animalia are all eukaryotic. The cell wall, bacteria has a cell wall, but plant has also a cell wall, and animal does not have a cell wall. Actually, you can go through these. There's nothing much for me to tell you, and you can have a look how this like chart describes the organism classification. So all the prokaryotic are in under Monera. Actually, currently we have a kingdom classification in which the Monera is further divided into eubacteria and archaebacteria. Actually, archaebacteria and eubacteria. So it is just a subdivision. So it's sometimes five kingdom classification is referred and sometimes six kingdom classification is referred since Monera has been just split into two parts. Uh, and see, as I was telling, eukaryotic, unicellular. belongs to the protista and multicellular. With the cell wall, we have phototropic plant, and heterotropic, we have fungi. And without the cell wall, we have animals. But note one thing here, that this classification or a library has been constructed according to our convenience to make our concept easy, or to find an organism according to our ease. It does not mean that it is constant or static. People change, or the classification change, or one organism present in one kingdom might be considered also in the another kingdom. Like we'll also see an example. I'll tell you in more details there. So thing to note, it is not static. How people, like with time, people are gaining more knowledge about different type of organism, their body organization, and etc. And accordingly, they are being moved up or down, or to different types of classification. So what is this advantage of five kingdom classification? What advantage it had? So previously, all prokaryotic organisms were grouped together into the plant kingdom and animal kingdom very vaguely. But now all the prokaryotic organisms were grouped under the kingdom Monera, and the unicellular eukaryotic organisms were placed in the kingdom Protista. So kingdom Protista, what it did, it brought together Chlamydomonas, Chlorella. So these Chlamydomonas and Chlorella were earlier placed in algae with plants because they had cell wall. But plants are multicellular organism, but the Chlamydomonas chlorella are unicellular organism. So these are now together studied with Paramecium and Amoeba. Paramecium and Amoeba were previously put in animal kingdom because they simply lacked cell wall. But animals are also multicellular. That is why this particular kingdom called Protista brought together this Chlamydomonas, Chlorella, Paramecium, and Amoeba. So it has put together organisms which is earlier classification were placed in different kingdoms. Uh, but this Chlorella, Chlamydomonas are algae. These are actually photosynthetic. Now we are telling it that these are protista, as they are unicellular eukaryotes. But we'll be looking at or studying more about algae under plants, because since we are dealing with plants, we are dealing with photosynthesis, they have chlorophyll. So it is convenient, and people also study uh, about algae. Like you must have also known, like people generally study algae under plants, since they are more similar to like doing photosynthesis. They have chlorophyll pigments and all. But the kingdom, this now the new type of system has placed them under kingdom Protista, not in Plantae. So, as I was telling here, if for you people to not get confused between prokaryotes and eukaryotes, I just have put a brush up or an overview about these two types of cell. So, prokaryotes means primitive or like old type of cell during the course of evolution, and eukaryotes are the advanced or the true cells. So prokaryotes, you can see on the left here is a bacteria, which is a prokaryote cell because their DNA or the genetic material is not enclosed by a nucleus, whereas this in the animal cell, there is a nuclear membrane, there is a nucleus. So this is just to brush up uh, about prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes are very simple, and eukaryotes have a complex structure. They have a like cell wall with peptidoglycan. If you know, remember, bacteria has a cell wall made up of peptidoglycan and muramic acid. So they have this NAGNAM chains. So that is how. So peptidoglycan actually makes up the cell wall of the prokaryotic cell, whereas the cell wall is chitin or cellulose if present in eukaryotic cell. If present means it is either present in fungi or in plants. These are the example: bacteria, archaea, and in the eukaryotes, human, plant, fungi, and protists. So I hope you all are now more clear about prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. Just go through these after the class. So I'll start with the kingdom. We will have a look at all the kingdoms, five kingdom, but all the subdivisions are not possible to discuss in details. I'll just give you important points, like which class has got first time the xylem phloem, like these small examples. So as I was telling, let's start with kingdom Monera. So Monera has the bacteria. So bacteria are the sole member of the kingdom Monera. They are the most abundant microorganisms. Bacteria can be found everywhere in the number of millions and billions. So bacteria are grouped under four categories on based on their shape. Remember this. This might come in your exams and all, like in this NPTEL exam or in later competitive exams. So if you see a spherical bacteria, they are called cocci, or plural is cocci, or singular is coccus. And if you see rod shaped, they are called bacilli. And if you see spirals, they are called spirilla. And if you see comma shaped, they are called vibrio, or the singular is vibrium. So we have four types of bacteria: coccus, bacillus, vibrium, spirilla, or spirillum, based on the shape of the bacteria. So that is for the kingdom Monera. Uh, as I was telling, that kingdom Monera or the bacteria can be divided into two types of bacteria. One is archibacteria, one is eubacteria. Archibacteria are the very old or very primitive bacteria. Eubacteria are the true bacteria. So what is the basic difference between these two? That archibacteria are special since they live in some of the harshest habitat, such as extreme salty environment, hot spring, and marshy areas. So if you remember, microorganisms are found everywhere, even in the harshest and the possible condition, like extremely salt areas. And most of the organisms that are found in this harsh environment, where eukaryotic cells or other advanced cell cannot survive, this archibacteria can survive. So we have halophiles that are found in salty area. We have thermoacidophiles which are found in hot spring. Actually, for the DNA polymerase, the Thermus aquaticus or the Taq polymerase, which is extracted from the Thermus aquaticus, is actually found in this hot springs. Yeah, so it was historically isolated from the Thermus aquaticus, which is found in the hot spring. That is why that enzyme can withstand at higher temperature in during the PCR. And marshy areas, methanogens that produce methane. So archaebacteria different from other bacteria. How they are different? In the cell wall structure. Because their cell wall structure lacks peptidoglycan. They are made up of simple protein carbohydrate structure chains, unlike the eubacteria or the true bacteria, which has a rigid cell wall, uh, which is made up of peptidoglycan. So this is the most important point. Eubacteria has peptidoglycan cell wall, whereas the archaebacteria do not have a peptidoglycan cell wall. As I said, archaebacteria is found in the extreme environment, whereas eubacteria are found everywhere. They are the general bacteria. They are primitive and the oldest bacteria, as during the course of evolution, they appeared first and then eubacteria developed from the archaebacteria. Archaebacteria are always anaerobic. So these harsh conditions do not have oxygen. So if they are to grow there, they had to be their metabolic pathway has to be such that they do not need oxygen for their activity. So they can grow in anaerobic condition. Example, best example, methanogens, methane producing bacteria. Eubacteria, depends. They can be aerobic or anaerobic, depends on the environment they are growing. So the archaebacteria are less sensitive to antibiotics, whereas eubacteria or the true bacteria are more sensitive to antibiotics. So I was talking about the blue-green algae. Uh, so they come under, don't get confused, blue-green algae. That the algae name is there. It is under algae. I'll study them under plant. No. So why people used to call them blue-green algae? Because, as I said previously, there was just plant kingdom and animal kingdom. Everything which was looking green and everything which has chlorophyll are under plant kingdom. So from there, that time, this name is there, blue-green algae. But the modern name or the current scientific name is cyanobacteria. So eubacteria or the true bacteria are characterized by the presence of rigid cell wall. If motile, if the bacteria is able to move, they have a flagella. So and the cyanobacteria or the blue-green algae has chlorophyll. That is why it is able to do photosynthesis. The cyanobacteria as a unicellular colonial, they can form colony or they can form filaments also. Are found in freshwater, marine, or terrestrial algae. Some of these organisms can also fix atmospheric nitrogen in specialized cell called heterocyst. So they in the cell they have a specialized part called heterocyst where they can fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Example, you may have heard in news this nostoc, anabaena are used for enriching the soil nitrogen. They also cause a great amount of diseases like cholera, typhoid, tetanus are well-known diseases uh, created or are the disease or the bacterial disease. Okay, so I hope you people are following up and this Monera kingdom is clear. Anyone wants to ask anything or I'll move to the next kingdom. Okay, okay, so if no questions, then I'll move. So,
Sir,
yes,
these are example of cholera, typhoid, tetanus are the which Eucobacteria, Archaebacteria.
eubacteria. So these actually archaebacteria are found in harsh environment. They are, see, here I've written they're found in extreme environment like extreme salty area, hot spring, marshy areas. So they are restricted to certain places. Whereas eubacteria,
Yes.
which is restricted or which can be found anywhere, so they are more potent or they can cause disease. Actually,
Eubacteria also known as true bacteria.
yes, yes. Eubacteria, you can have a look here. Eubacteria are also known as true bacteria.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So actually, I'll be uploading these slides to the drive. You can download these slides after the class. So if you go to your NPTEL left corner, there is the recorded sessions as well as your all the drive link. Hmm. Okay. So we are done with the Archaebacteria and Eubacteria. Archaebacteria, you just split the Monera
Sir,
kingdom in,
please explain the tetanus bacteria.
sorry,
Detail.
which
These are
bacteria?
the example of typhoid tetanus in detail.
Yeah, uh, you have Streptococcus tetani for the tetanus. You have for the typhoid, I think Bacillus strain. I actually don't remember exactly. Cholera, you have this Vibrio cholera. Actually, would do one thing. Uh, you
Sir,
can, yes,
the type of the gram positive, negative,
yes,
something are the
yes, yes.
which bacteria?
So gram positive and negative depends on the uh, type of cell wall. What is the type of the cell wall? is the peptide. So it is the depends on the thickness of the peptidoglycan. If and where is the peptidoglycan present? Here is the peptidoglycan present in the eubacteria. So if they have a thick peptidoglycan layer, they can withstand the gram stain. And if it they
This
has a thin layer of peptidoglycan, they cannot withstand the gram stain. So thing is, they have a peptidoglycan. So they all are eubacteria. So gram staining is done for eubacteria only because they have peptidoglycan, whereas no peptidoglycan is there for archaebacteria.
yes.
Okay, okay. So I'll move on to the next kingdom, kingdom Protista. So as I said, all the single eukaryote, all this. Okay, just mute your mic. If you have any further questions, you can ask. For the timing, just mute your mic. Okay. So kingdom Protista. As I said, all the eukaryotes, single-celled eukaryotes are placed under Protista, and the members of Protista are primarily aquatic. Like they are generally aquatic. Most of the members are aquatic. Being eukaryotes, the Protestant cell body contains a well-defined nucleus. So, since they are eukaryotes, they have the features of eukaryotes also, like a well-defined nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. Some have flagella and cilia for the movement. Protists reproduce sexually as well as sexually by the process involving cell fusion for asexual reproduction, and a zygote formation like haploid zygotes for the sexual reproduction. You are seeing both type of reproduction since they are eukaryotes there. So eukaryotes are a little more advanced. So under Protista, we have chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime mold, and protozoans. I'll just give a very brief overview and who are the important or example members of the sub classification of protist. So first I'll start with chrysophytes. So chrysophytes, uh, these two members are there, diatoms. You must have heard about this diatomaceous earth. They form the coral component, the very old diatoms and the golden algae, which are also called desmid. They are found in the freshwater as well as in the marine environment. They are microscopic. Obviously, these are microscopic organisms and float passively in water current. We call this as planktons also. Most of them are photosynthetic. I was talking about the golden algae. So algae, if you have seen plankton, you must have seen they are green in color and they are photosynthetic. Another member is dinoflagellates. So they appear yellow, green, brown, blue, or red depending on the main pigment present in their cell. You can see the picture here. The cell wall has cellulose plate on the outer side. Most of them have two flagella. So one coming out of the body and one wrapped around the body. One lies longitudinally and the other transversely in a furrow between the wall plate. Very often, the red dinoflagellates, example is Gonialux, undergoes rapid multiplication in the sea that makes red tides. Heard about Red Sea or the red tides observed in the sea that they are due to this dinoflagellates or the red dinoflagellates. The third one is euglenoids. So euglenoids are majority of them are freshwater organisms found in the stagnant water. Instead of cell wall, so note here, they do not have a cell wall. Instead of a cell wall, what euglenoids have is a protein-rich layer called pellicle. And since they do not have a rigid cell wall, instead they have a protein-rich pellicle, their body is flexible. They have two flagella. This small one is not visible here. It is very small. and a long one. They are thought they are photosynthetic in the presence of sunlight. When deprived of sunlight, they behave like heterotroph by predating on the smaller organisms. Since they are eukaryotes, they are also heterotrophs. But thing is, they also have pigment and they can make their own food in the sunlight. Interestingly, the pigments of euglenoids are identical to the present in the higher plants. So the chlorophyll that is present in the euglenoids is kind of similar to the higher plants also. And one example of euglenoid is euglena. Remember this protein-rich layer pellicle. This is the feature or the most important feature of euglenoids. Next, I'll come to slime molds. So slime molds are saprophytic. Saprophytic means they survive or grow on dead and decomposing material. The body moves along decaying, see, it says decaying twigs and leaves engulfing organic material. Under suitable conditions, they form an aggregation called plasmodium. So they kind of aggregate together. This is like a very zoomed in picture where you can see single molds. But if favorable condition persists, they can merge together. Can you just mute the call? Shravani, can you just mute the call? Okay, thank you. So if the condition is favorable, they form an aggregation called a plasmodium, which may grow and spread over several feet. During unfavorable condition, the plasmodium actually differentiates and form fruiting bodies. You can see fruiting bodies here. That is during the unfavorable condition. If it is stressed or deprived of nutrition, they will form fruiting bodies bearing spores at their tip. The spores possess true wall. They are extremely resistant. And if you know about spores, actually, they are extremely resistant and survive for many years even under the adverse condition. So this is about the slime molds. Slime molds under unfavorable condition form fruiting bodies which can bear spores at the tip. That's all. Now we have a fifth one on the last one, which is protozoans. Protozoans, you must have heard about this protozoans under malaria. Okay, so they come under which classification? Kingdom Protista. Okay, so protozoans are heterotrophs and live as predators or parasite. Best example, malaria. They are believed to be primitive relatives of animals. This is what it is to be believed. Because most of the protozoan they infect animals. So we have further classification of protozoans. We have amoeboid, whereas the example is amoeba. You have must have seen the pseudopodia and all. Flagellated protozoans, which is trypanosoma. Trypanosoma causes sleeping sickness, one disease. Ciliated protozoans, paramecium. Paramecium, which looks like a slender insect and like cilia coming out everywhere. And sporozoans, which is the plasmodium. So Plasmodium falciparum is the causative agent of malaria. So that belongs to sporozoans under protozoans under kingdom Protista. So that's all for the kingdom Protista. Okay, so I'll just finish the questions and then I'll take any. If you have any questions, you can ask. Let's just finish with one flow. Okay. I hope people you are following up. Everything is clear. There's nothing
Yes,
much.
sir.
Yeah, there's nothing much to actually understand. All these things has to be memorized, or I've made it very precise and short for you to memorize the key concepts. So that is the reason I cannot put everything because it will be very huge and it cannot be covered in just 2 hours. So next is kingdom fungi. So the fungi, the best example is the mushrooms. Okay, so the fungi constitute a unique kingdom of heterotrophic organism. So heterotrophic means they don't make their own food; they rely on something else. So that is why you do not see green color fungi. They don't have chlorophyll. They show a great diversity in morphology and habitat. Some unicellular fungi, yeast, are used to make bread and beer, and mostly all other fungi are multicellular. Here, I've written yeast, which is used to make bread. Can anyone just name what is the name of this yeast? It starts with S.
Saccharomyces
The
cerevisiae.
Saccharomyces cerevisiae.
Correct, correct. So it is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So that is the fungi used to make breads or the your baking yeast. And this antibiotics, Penicillium notatum. So penicillin is actually for the first time it was extracted or it was found in this Penicillium fungi. So with the exception of yeast, which is unicellular, fungi are filamentous or multicellular. They form filaments. So their body consists of long, slender, thread-like structure. And what is the name of this good name of this filament? It is called hypha. And the network of hypha is known as mycelium. So the slender, long body is called hypha, and the network is called mycelium. Some hypha are continuous tubes filled with multinucleated cytoplasm. These are called the sinocytic hypha. Sinocytic, remember this term. Sinocytic is something, I'll just draw here. Xenocytic means there is no division of uh, cytoplasm and multiple nucleuses are there. That is called xenocytic condition. If there is partition, this is not called xenocytic. If partition is not there or singles in the single stretch of cytoplasm, multiple nucleus is there, that is called xenocytic. So they have xenocytic hypha. Others have septate. Some are like this sinocytic condition. Other have septate. Septate means this cell wall which separates this nucleus or cross walls in their hypha. The cells of the fungi are composed of, remember what is the composition of the cell wall? It is chitin and polysaccharide. So mostly or the important is the chitin. So chitin you cannot find in other kind of kingdom. Only fungi, cell wall you can find chitin. The next part is that most fungi are heterotrophic, as I said, and they absorb soluble organic matter from dead substrate and hence called saprophytes. So they belong to the saprophytes, just like the bread molds. Those that depend on living plants, just see the difference. Since bread mold are a single eukaryotic cell, they are under protist. But fungi, they form the network, merge together and work together. So it is kind of multicellular or multinucleated. That is why they are in fungi. And the same saprophyte which exist as single cell, they are under protist. So protists are the single cellular eukaryotes, whereas fungi, they are a different kingdom. Okay. So they are saprophytes, the fungi are saprophytes. Those that depend on living plant and animal are called parasite. So if they are growing on dead and decaying substrate, they are called saprophyte. If they are like dependent on the living plant and animal, like on the trees and all, you can also find mushroom. So they are called parasite. They can also live as symbionts. Symbionts means I'll come to this in one of the questions. Like the association of fungi with algae is called lichen. And one more association or symbiont you can see in the root of higher plant, such as called mycorrhiza. So symbionts actually both the partner gets benefited from each other. Lichen, I'll tell you later in one of the question. Mycorrhiza is actually the fungal association with the root of the plant, or to be like said specific, they are in the root nodule of the plant. So they actually fix nitrogen for the plant and in return get nutrient from the plant. So that is called symbionts. And example, mycorrhiza and lichens. So we have actually four types of fungi. Okay. So the morphology of the mycelium, mode of the spore formation, and the fruiting body form the basis for the division of kingdom into the various class. So we have four class of fungi: Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, or the mushroom, the popular the one mushroom that belongs to the Basidiomycetes and the Deuteromycetes. So in the Phycomycetes, the mycelium is aseptate and sinusoidal. I just now told in the previous slide what do you mean by septate or the septa. Septa is nothing, just a cross one. And what is sinusoidal condition? So here the mycelium is aseptate, since aseptate, sinusoidal. Asexual reproduction takes place by zoospores. Zoospore if it is motile, or if it is non-motile, aplanospores. Example, on the this side you can see this is mucor. Mucor rhizopus. Rhizopus is the bread mold. So these two belongs to the Phycomycetes. Ascomycetes, the penicillin or the penicillium, not the product is penicillin. The name of the is penicillium notatum. The penicillium uh, or the rarely see or the rare unicellular yeast is only yeast is unicellular. Nothing else is unicellular. Yeast is a exception. So Saccharomyces. So mostly multicellular. Exception is yeast. They belong to the Ascomycetes. Here mycelium is branched and septate. Only the Phycomycetes has a aseptate and sinusoid. Rest all they have a branched mycelium. You can see the branch here. So the asexual spores are called conidia, produced exogenously outside on special mycelium called conidiophores. Sexual spores are also there, which are called ascospores, which are produced endogenously in the sac called asci. So the sexual spore are produced inside, which are called in the say a sac-like structure called asci, and the name of the sexual spores are called ascospores, whereas the asexual spores are called conidiospores, conidiophores. Okay. The most common fungi, which is Basidiomycetes, or the mushroom, the bracket fungi, or the puffball. Here the mycelium is branched and septate. Asexual spores are generally not found. Here the so remember as we move towards the more complexity, asexual reproduction is generally not preferred. More sexual reproduction is preferred. Here, asexual spores are not found, but vegetative reproduction by fragmentation is common. So, if you have seen one mushroom branch or stalk coming out from and like going to the ground, and one more mushroom can grow from that. So, that is called vegetative reproduction. And the agaricus, which is mushroom and ustilago, are the example of the basidiomycetes. Next one is deuteromycetes. So the mycelium, deuteromycetes, the mycelium is septate and branched again. Some members are saprophytic or parasitic, while a large number of them are decomposers. So these are parasite or saprophyte or decomposer. Example, Alternaria, Coletricum, and Trichoderma. You can have a look here. So this is the Trichoderma. So it looks like kind of leaf structures. So that is the deuteromycetes. Okay, people. So we have discussed Monera protista and the fungi. We will have some questions now. But before that, if you have any questions or you want to ask anything, uh, feel free to ask. Or we'll go to the questions. Okay. Anyone wants to ask anything? Or if it's clear, then we'll go to the questions.
Clear, sir.
Okay, we'll start the questions then. So, given that I have discussed and you have heard most of my lecture, you can actually answer the questions. Everything is what I have discussed. You can answer all the questions. So, the first one, this is a very basic question for the starters. The study of atmosphere, hydrosphere, and biosphere falls under which branch? Physical, art, life science, or social science? Go to the chat box. You can type in the chat box also, or you can unmute and answer the question. Science, okay. Yes, people, it's not very difficult. Art science is the correct answer. So, physical science is something which physics, chemistry, and all. Life science deals with the living organism. Social science, you know what is social science. So, here as I'm talking about atmosphere, hydrosphere, and biosphere. Yes, correct. People who said art science, correct. Yes, yes. So, life science deals with the living organisms. Here, so it is basically like the earth, air, and the water. So that belongs to the earth sciences. So it is option B. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. What is the purpose of classifying or the classification for studying living organism? It makes easy to study, or it prevents the species from going extinct, or to increase the population of the species, or to reduce the size of the organism. Which one do you think correct is the purpose of classification? Okay, yes, yes, correct. So very easy. So it is the we make classification or a library so that it becomes easy to study the organism as a group. Remember, it is easy to study the organism as a group. We are not studying one individual, but we are studying individual as a group. So option A. The next question. The following kingdom includes unicellular eukaryotes. Monera, Protista, fungi, or Animalia. Okay, okay. Anyone else? So, which kingdom includes the unicellular eukaryotes?
Protesta, sir.
Yes, Protista, correct. So I discussed this.
Protista.
Yes, so I discussed this extensively. So the unicellular eukaryotes means Protista. Okay. So the next one, the following organisms are known to have a protein-rich layer called a pellicle or flexibility. Chrysophyte, slime mold, euglenoid, or diatoms. Okay. Yes. Yes, correct, correct. So it is euglenoids. They do not have.
Right.
Yes, yes, correct. So euglenoids do not have a rigid cell wall. Instead, they have a protein-rich layer which makes them flexible. So answer is option C. So people who said option C, correct. The next one, the type of organisms that form a symbiotic association in lichens.
Again, formation.
Okay,
Algae and fungi.
okay. Anyone else? Algae and fungi. Yes, yes. So people here correct. It is algae and fungi. So a little more about this lichens. So lichens are the symbiotic association. Actually, the, symbiotic means both of them mutually get the benefit, and they have mutual useful association between algae and fungi. And the algal component is called phycobiont, and the fungal component is called mycobiont. Remember, in some competitive exam, they ask what is the name of the algal component of fungi? Sorry, in lichen. So the algal component is called phycobiont, and the fungal component is called mycobiont, which are autotrophic. So this algae is autotroph, the fungi is heterotroph, respectively. Algae prepare since algae is autotroph, they prepare food for the fungi, and fungi provide shelter and absorb mineral, nutrient, and water for its partner. Lichens are very good pollution indicator. If there is pollution, they do not grow in the polluted areas. This is the example of algae. Okay, so that was about the lichens. Okay, the next one is the scientific name of an organism consists of which two component? Kingdom, phylum, phylum, family.
Genus and species.
Genus and species.
Yes, genus and species, correct. Yes. So people who said option C, genus and species, correct. And this, yeah, okay. After you're done, just mute your microphone. Okay. So that is binomial nomenclature, which is like a genus name followed by specific epithet. Okay, option C. Okay, so that was done. Now, for a little more primitive things, and now a little more advanced plant and animal, then we'll be done for today. So, as I said, we'll be studying, as people usually studied, algae under the plant. So, the first member of plant kingdom, we consider algae. But algae actually belongs where? They are mostly single cell and they belong in the protist, but it's a general convenience to study them under planting or the plant kingdom because they have chlorophyll. So plant kingdom are they are present phylogenetic classification based on evolutionary relationship between various organisms as acceptable. They assume organisms belong to the same taxa, have a common ancestor. Irrelevant. So the first member of plant will study algae. As I said, it is convenient to study algae under plant since they bear chlorophyll. So one more thing, algae are sometimes also called thallophytes. So if you see a member thallophyta under plant kingdom, I do not get surprised. This is something new. Thallophyta or the thallophytes, they are also called as algae. So algae are chlorophyll bearing, simple, thalloid, autotrophic, and largely aquatic. Both freshwater and marine organism. The algae reproduce by vegetative, asexual, and the sexual method. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation. Each fragment develop into a new thallus. So thallus is a very primitive kind of body. So, which looks like kind of a leaf, but it is not a leaf. It is the entire body. So that is called a thallus. You can imagine a cactus kind of thing. So it is an entire body which is a round in shape, almost round or elliptical in shape. That is called thallus. So asexual reproduction is by the production of different type of spore, the most common being the zoospore. Zoospore is associated with the asexual reproduction. They have also undergo vegetative fragmentation, and also sexual reproduction is also there, in which the fusion of two gametes is involved. And one fact about algae is that at least half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on Earth is carried out by algae through photosynthesis. So imagine if other half is done by plants, almost half is done by algae. So you can imagine uh, like how many, what is the proportion or the size of algae, and what is their like the capacity or their ability to do photosynthesis, and make sense to study them under plant. Uh, f- in the lab, you must have seen one product which is derived from algae is agar. So agar, which is used to run agarose gel, DNA gel, is one of the commercial product, and it is derived from these two algae, Gelidium and Gracilaria. These are marine algae, or from the seabed. These are extracted, hence very expensive. Agar powder is very expensive. The Gelidium and Gracilaria, they are the source for the agar. So agar, we have three. Yeah. Uh, yeah, Kundan, you want to ask something?
Yeah, yes, sir. Agar is the used in the broth को ऐसे भी बनाया जाता है ना agar से
Yes, yes, yes. So actually, okay.
broth
Uh,
medium.
yes. Sorry, I mistakenly told you about agarose. So that sorry, that is not okay. Thank you for pointing this out. Actually, I told you about agarose. Agarose is different. This is agar. Agar. I actually put up a picture also here, but I somehow mistakenly told about agar. Sorry. So agar is used to pour plates. So you must have seen about the spreading techniques. So spread the bacteria or the stab culture. So that is the agar. Uh, if you melt the agar and then you pour the plates, or you make a stab culture after that, that is used to grow the bacteria. So that is the agar I was talking about, which is extracted from the Gelidium and Gracilaria. Okay. So that this is just an example of uh, the
So
use of fungi. Sorry, this algae.
gladium, gladium and gracilaria. These are
Yes. I'm coming to this Gelidium and Gracilaria. I have actually pictures of here. So Gelidium and Gracilaria belongs to the red algae or the Rhodophyceae. So we have actually three class of algae. One is chlorophyceae, one is phaeophyceae, one is rhodophyceae. So I was telling like the algae has chlorophyll in it. Since they were fix 50% of the carbon dioxide, they have chlorophyll. But based on the difference in type of pigment on the chlorophyll pigment, they get different color. Chlorophyceae get the green color, phaeophyceae gets the brown color, and the rhodophyceae get the red color. And these are the major pigments which are present in this three types of, or the three classes of algae. I have listed down, or there's a table here which discuss more about their stored food and their cell wall. Like chlorophyceae, the cell wall is cellulose, and in phaeophyceae, this is cellulose and algin. Rhodophyceae, it is cellulose, pectin, and polyphosphate phosphoesters. sorry, polysulfate esters. So this is rhodophycy, and I have listed out the habitat. This Gelidium and Gracilaria, which I was talking about, these are found in the ocean bed, and this belongs to the red algae or the rhodophycy. From here, they extract it and make powder, which is comes in the packets, the agar packet, and which you melt with LB. You make LB broth and LB agar. So this agar component is used to for the jelly type of function. So some jellies are also made with this agar. So this is the use. And remember, these are the three classes of the algae. So this is the first member of the plant kingdom. But actually, if question is there, algae belongs to which kingdom? They belong to the what kingdom? Protist kingdom. Remember this. Okay. Okay. So second one is bryophytes. So first one was algae. Now, or algae, other name is thallophyte. Now we'll have a look about bryophytes. Bryophyte include the various mosses and liverworts. So it has two like members. One is mosses and one is liverwort that are found commonly growing in moist shaded areas in the hills. So since they are found mostly in moist and shady area in the hills, most of the people have not seen these bryophytes like in real life. Uh, One important point here for your MCQ and your questions is that bryophytes are called amphibians of the plant kingdom. As frog is called the amphibian of the animal kingdom, bryophytes are called the amphibian of the plant kingdom because these plants can live in soil but are dependent on water for their sexual reproduction. They are living in the water, and one more drawback or restriction is that they need water for their sexual reproduction for the transmittance of the gametes. So these are the two members, liverworts and Moses. This is the example of the liverwort. You have archegoniophore, which produces the female gamete, and the anthridiophore, which produces the male gamete. But for the transfer of the gamete, you need water. So that is uh, a drawback or the challenge for the bryophytes. And bryophytes, that is why they are not very commonly found, and they are mostly restricted to moist, shady areas. They moist means they need water. Uh, and on your right side, you can see Moses. So two more concepts. I'll tell you what is this gametophyte and what is this sporophyte. So gametophyte, just imagine the gametes. So gametes are what haploid cell. So gametophyte, the genetic makeup is haploid, whereas the sporophyte is diploid. So in bryophytes, actually the first phase of the bryophytes, the organism, the first phase when it grows, it is actually predominantly gametophytic. It is haploid content. From there, in the second stage or in the more advanced stage, the sporophyte generates. So, thing is, in the bryophyte, the predominant stage is gametophyte followed by sporophyte. Sporophyte, it is a diploid. This gametophyte, it is haploid. Okay, so on the left you have the liverwort, on the right you have Moses, and this is all about bryophytes. And bryophytes are called the amphibians of the plant kingdom. And the next one is pteridophytes. Pteridophytes, here you will get questions and important informations. The pteridophytes include horsetail and ferns. You people must have seen ferns because they are mostly frequently grown as ornamentals. Evolutionary, remember this, this is a important concept regarding to the plant kingdom, that pteridophytes are the first terrestrial plant to possess vascular tissue, the xylem and phloem. Previously, whatever we discussed, they do not have this xylem and phloem. Simple circulation mechanism is there. Circulation means not the blood. Circulation means for the water and mineral to go. But this organized, this xylem phloem, for the first time, they are a concept or they are there in pteridophytes. So evolutionary, they are the first terrestrial plant to possess vascular tissue. In pteridophytes, unlike the bryophyte, the main plant is a sporophyte, which is differentiated into true root. So sporophyte means 2N or diploid. In pteridophyte, the main plant body is sporophyte, which is differentiated into true root, stem, and leaf. The sporophyte bear sporangia that are subtended by leaf-like appendages called sporophylls. In some cases, the sporophyll may form small structure called a stabile or cone, like Selaginella and the equisetum. This is the example here. Like imagine this is what ferns look like. Some kind of pointed like leaves. And this is about the life cycle of the pteridophytes. As I said, they are predominant. Just one second. Okay. The predominant or the stage of the life cycle is sporophyte or the diploid cycle or the diploid phase. From there, uh, gametophyte generate. So if gametophyte has to be generated from the sporophyte, then it is meiosis. So with meiosis, you can see spores coming out, and from there they will form gametophyte. Will have the male organ and the female organ. Their sperm will go and fuse with the egg, and then again they will form the sporophyte through the zygote. So zygote will undergo mitosis and will get a sporophyte. This is the important difference between bryophyte and pteridophyte. Bryophyte, main plant body, is gametophyte. From gametophyte, sporophyte originates. Here, pteridophyte, the main plant body is sporophyte. From here, this gametophyte originates, and the gametophyte fuse. So gametophyte, gametophyte. So the sperm fuses the egg, and then zygote and mitosis. So this is what I told you. The gametophyte bear male and female sex organ called the antheridia and archegonia. Male sex organ is called antheridia and archegonia. Limitation. Water is required for the transfer of antherizoid, the male gamete released from antheridia to the mouth of archegonia, not by water. So, not by air. So this is a kind of limitation. Water is required for the transfer of antherizoids. Fusion of male gamete with the egg present in the archegonium result in the formation of zygote. Zygote thereafter produces a multicellular, well-defined sporophyte. This is the sporophyte. That is all about pteridophytes. Uh, Here I was talking about this sporophylls, no? Like leaf-like appendages that are called sporophyll. So in most of the cases, you will see sporophyll, but sometimes they may form a compact structure, and these compact structure are called strobili or cones, and it looks like this brown structure here. So this plant is equisetum, and you see these brown which looks like button are actually the cones. Okay, so and these cones are the sporophyll which became compact and became cones. This cone will be different from other cone which is coming, so better not to confuse. Just better it is to remember that these are strobili. Okay, so another uh, class of the plant kingdom is gymnosperm. So these are majorly two big plant. So here you are seeing some herbs, shrubs, or very small plants. Gymnosperm and angiosperm actually are the big class of the plant, or the which can grow up to several meters and become very long. So the gymnosperm, we'll study first the gymnosperm, are the plant in which the ovule are not enclosed by any ovary wall and remain exposed. So gymno means naked and sperm means seed. So that means that the ovule are not enclosed by any ovary and it has remain exposed both before and after fertilization. The seeds that develop post fertilization also are not covered. That is, are naked. The seeds are also naked. One interesting example is one of the gymnosperm. That is the example is this redwood giant sequoia. The sequoia plant is one of the tallest tree species in the world, and they belong to the gymnosperm. Actually, this is you must have seen in news. This sequoia plants, they are found in USA mostly. They are one of the tallest tree species in the world. Roots of some genera have fungal association in the form of mycorrhiza. I was talking about mycorrhiza there in fungus. So what plant is associated? These pinus plant, which belong into the gymnosperm. So mycorrhiza for the nitrogen fixation. While in other Ficus, the small specialized roots called coralloid root are associated with nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. So the mycorrhiza uh, here, do not get confused. I know these are different terms. So in mycorrhiza, it is the fungal association. If while in other plants such as Caicus, we have some coralloid root in which their nitrogen fixing bacteria are there. So remember these two terms or like these two example of the gymnosperm. One is Pinus, one is Caicus. In Pinus, you have mycorrhiza, whereas in Caicus, you have nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. Just download this and go through it yourself. It'll be clear. Okay. So the leaves in the gymnosperm are well adapted to withstand extreme temperature, humidity, and wind. In conifers, the needle-like leaves reduce the surface area. Now, since I'm talking about this conifers, you can like imagine. I'm slowly going toward I'll be telling you about the cone, the pine tree. So where the leaves are like needle, and all these are gymnosperms. We have two types of cones, or they have two types of cone for the reproduction of gymnosperm. We have male cone and female cone. Now we are talking about the reproduction of gymnosperm. So, as I said, cone and stropili are the same thing. Just do not get confused. Like both have cones or stropili. Pteridophytes, here they are very small. Here, gymnosperm, they are like big cones are there. So, male cone, they have microsporophyll that contain microsporangia, which is similar to sperm. Microsporangium produces haploid microspore. A few microspore develop into the male gamete called as the pollen grain. So here for the first time we are dealing with this word called pollen grain under the gymnosperms. So the male cone produces the pollen grain, and the female cone, which are the megasporophyll, cluster together to form the female cone. They possess ovule containing megasporangium. It produces haploid megaspore and a megaspore mother cell. Previously, what we discussed, water was required for the fusion of male gametes with the female gamete. But in this case, see wind, now it is dependent on wind, much more easier. Wind disperse pollen to the female cone where fertilization occur. After fertilization, seed develop on the scale of female cone, eventually falling to the ground to germinate. Since after fusion, they are back to the diploid, this cone can fall to the ground and then it can germinate to another plant. Last one is the angiosperm, the most common plants. So angiosperm are the flowering plants. Any plant bearing a flower, you can say it belongs to the angiosperms. The pollen grain and ovule are developed in specialized structure called flower. They have specialized structure for all the pollen grain, ovule, and that is called flower. In angiosperm, hence the name, the seed are enclosed in fruits. So the seed is covered in the fruit. The angiosperm are exceptionally large group of plant. This I did not tell you more because you all know about the plant, our general plants. But like based on the seed morphology, the root condition, the flowering pattern, and the leaf and the vascular bundle, we can further classify or subclassify this angiosperm as monocot and dicot. Just for your quick revision, so monocot has a single cotyledon, dicot has two cotyledons. In monocot, we see fibrous root, whereas in dicot, we saw taproot. In monocot, we have the petals in multiple of three. So this is a multiple of three, and on the below, we have a multiple of three. So that is monocot. In dicot, we have a multiple of four or five. The leaves, in the case of monocot, they are narrow, parallel veins, whereas in dicot, we have oval or palmate or net-like vein. The vascular bundle is vascular means the xylem and phloem. It is scattered throughout in monocots, whereas in dicot, it is ringed. So that's all for the plant kingdom. I'll just uh, put some questions for you, and then we can go to the animal kingdom. Animal kingdom, I won't discuss like the entire thing, it's just basic. So that's all for the plant kingdom. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, or we'll go to the questions of plant kingdom. Okay. So just 1 minute and we can. Yeah. Shall we go to the questions then?
Gymnosperm.
Yeah, gymnosperms.
Yeah. Yeah. Male, female, give. कौन सा sir?
Sorry.
कौन sorry stormy?
Yes, cone. This is the name of the reproductive organ. Or you can simply say these are the reproductive organs of the gymnosperm. So the name is cone or strobili. So if it is written strobili, don't think it is something else. It is the same as cone. So there is male cone and female cone. Male cone produces the pollen grain. It goes and fuses with the female cone. Now, after fertilization, the female cone falls on the ground and germinate to another plant. Simple. This is just the name of the organ.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first question is about the ferns. So fern reproduce using what? Spore, seed, cone?
Spore,
Yes.
spore.
Yes, spores. And people, you can also put in the chat box. Okay. So correct?
I will have remove.
Okay. Correct. Option A, spores. Yes. So it is option A, spore. The organ is cone, but what is dispersed? Uh, Sorry. Here, I'll go back to the ferns. Here, see,
Yes, sir.
this is the spores. So pteridophytes
Pe-
or the ferns, they reproduce using spore.
Peridophytes are obtained element foil in this.
Yes. After you are done answering, just put your mic in mute mode. Okay. Okay. So this is option A, spore. Okay. So a botanist actually discovers a plant with parallel leaf veins and a single cotyledon. So which group it belongs? Parallel leaf vein and a single cotyledon.
Monocotyledons.
Yes, correct. So it is single cotyledon and parallel leaf veins means it is monocotyledon. Correct. Monocotyledon is the correct answer. So we'll go through quickly. The primary role of vascular tissue in ferns and the flowering plant is what? Okay.
The support and transport of nutrients.
Yes, correct. Support and transport of nutrients. Yes. So it is option B. The vascular tissue, xylem and phloem, supports the transport of nutrients. In particular, xylem transport water and mineral up from the root to the lips, while phloem transport food from substances down from the leaf to the roots. And here is the picture. This is the xylem, and this in the middle part we have the phloem. Okay, so the next is that the type of plant that has vascular tissue, flower, and produces seeds enclosed in the fruit is what? They have vascular tissue, they have flower.
The gymnosperms.
Yes. So as soon as you hear the word flower, they has to be gymnosperms. Gymnosperms. So wait a second. We have flowers here, and they produce seeds. They have vascular tissue as well. More of this, they have flowers. Gymnosperm are naked seeds. Anyone? So gymnosperm
The,
are,
the questions.
sorry, you didn't understand the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the question is, what type of plant has vascular tissue, flower, and produces seed enclosed in fruit? It has flower and seed enclosed in fruit. So is it fern, mosses, angiosperm, or gymnosperm?
Geospheres.
Angiosperms. Yes,
Yes.
correct. So I'll just quickly go back here. We have angiosperms. They are the flowering plants. They have the pollen grain and the ovule developed a specialized structure called flower, and the seeds are enclosed in the fruit. Whereas in gymnosperm, The seeds are naked and there is no ovary well or the ovule. Sorry, this ovule is not enclosed by any ovary well. So the ovary grows to the fruit. Since it is the ovary wall is not there, the fruit is not there, and the seed itself is open or naked. So that is gymnosperm, and gymnosperm do not produce any flower. So if you hear this word flower, they belongs to the angiosperms. Okay, so these are angiosperms. I hope this is clear now. Because these are flower and the seed is enclosed in fruit. This is the two major things of angiosperms.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So just few more slides and then we'll be done. Uh, the last one, the last kingdom, animal kingdom. So there are a lot of animals. To classify, we need to have a certain basis of classification. So we have multiple bases of classification, and then people have made a long list of animal kingdom classification based on these bases. So first is the label of organization. What is the label on which like they have formed their body? So in sponges, which is the very basic animal member of animal kingdom, the cell are arranged as a loose cell aggregate. So they exhibit a cellular label of organization. Some simple division of labor might occur. In coelenterates, the arrangement of cell is more complex. Here the cell perform the same function and are arranged. The cells performing the same function are arranged into tissue and hence is called a tissue level of organization. Little more higher is the organ level and is exhibited by the members of Platyhelminthes and other higher phyla where tissue are grouped together to form organs, each specialized for a particular function. In animals like annelid, arthropod, mollusk, and echinoderm and chordates, organs are associated to form a functional system, each system concerned with a specific physiological function like excretion, digestion, and this type is called organ system level of organization. Tissue makes cells make tissue makes organ makes organ system. In the end, I've just put a table and that will be more clear for you. Second is the what is on the basis of symmetry. So some animals like sponges are asymmetrical. That is, any plane passing through the center does not divide them into equal half. And if any plane passing through the doesn't matter whatever the plane, if it passed through the center of the center axis of the body, divides the organism into two identical halves, then it is called radial symmetry. For example, this one. Coelenterates, Ctenophora, echinoderms are the example that have radial symmetry. Whereas other animals like annelid and the arthropoda or the arthropods, where the body can be divided into exactly identical left and right half in only one or a single plane, exhibit bilateral symmetry. So two halves, just one plane can divide, no other plane. That is called bilateral symmetry. And the animals are here. So this is the symmetry. Third basis of classification is whether it is diploblastic or triploblastic. What is this diploblastic or triploblastic? So animal in which the cells are arranged in two embryonic layers. So the zygote forms to the embryo, cell division happens, and the zygote develops to the embryo. So while this cell division actually it forms different layers. So if two embryonic layer is formed, that is the external ectoderm and the internal endoderm, it is called diploblastic. That is the characteristic of the zygote. They form two layers. And these Ceylon traits belong to this diploblastic animals. So an undifferentiated layer, the name of this undifferentiated layer is called mesoglia, is present between the ectoderm and the endoderm in case of diploblastic. While in some animal, the embryo has a third germinal layer, which is called mesoderm. These two terms might be confusing, the mesoglia and the mesoderm. Mesoglia is in diploblastic, mesoderm is in triploblastic. Undifferentiated layer is mesoglia, but the mesoderm, as you will know, it can differentiate in between ectoderm and endoderm, and if you have all three, ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm, it is called triploblastic. So from platyhelminthes to chordates, we have triploblastic. The fourth basis is the coelom. So coelom is the body cavity. We have three different acoelomate, pseudocoelomate or the false coelom, and the coelomate. So in acoelomate, we have platyhelminthes. There is no body cavity at all present. Pseudocoelom or the false coelom in like pouches. So the body cavity is present in pouches, Aschelminthes, and coelomate, which is true coelom, starting from annelida to chordata. So these are the true coelom. So remember, we belongs to chordata, so we have coelom. Of course, we have body cavity. Our inside is not fully jam-packed. Okay. So the fifth one is the segmentation, and the sixth is the notochord. So segmentation is some animal, the body is externally and internally divided into segment with a serial repetition of at least some organ. For example, earthworm, the body show this pattern. You have seen earthworm, their body is segmented, and it is called a metameric segmentation, or we call this as metameric rings. And the phenomena is called metamerism. The sixth one, or the last basis of classification, is notochord. So notochord is a mesodermally derived, so it is derived from mesoderm. So with the organism or the embryo which has mesoderm can develop this notochord, not the diploblastic. So notochord is a mesodermally derived rod-like structure found on the dorsal side during the embryonic development in some animals. Animal with notochord are called chordates, and those animals which do not form this structure are called non-chordates. Non-chordates are porifera to echinoderms. Porifera is the simple sponges. So here is the entire animal kingdom, the phylum. So phylum is for the animal kingdom. Division is for the plants. So phylum, Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, till Chordata, everything is here. We have the level of organization, symmetry, coelom. So coelom starts uh, Aschelminthes, we have pseudocoelom. Then from Annelida to Chordata, all are coelomates. Segmentation, we have for the Annelida, it is present. Arthropoda, present. Other Chordata, some segmentation is present. Digestive system, circulatory system, respiratory, and the distinctive features. All are listed here. I don't have the time to tell you. It will be very long and very boring if I start telling you each one of this. So I just have listed down. This is for your self study. I'll be providing an additional PDF with the PPT. You can download it and go through it. So this is what I just told you, the animalia, which are of course multicellular. They have cellular level at porifera, tissue, organ system. If the radial symmetry, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, bilateral symmetry, based on the body cavity, they are platyhelminthes, aschelminthes, or if they have coelom, from annelida to chordata. This is a overview kind of thing on the left, and it is a more complete classification on the right. Go through this table later. So we'll just quickly solve this last 4 5 questions. Uh, the first one. So in the diploblastic animal, like Nidaria, The ectoderm and endoderm are separated by what?
Some misoglia.
Mesolia. Okay.
Misoglia, sir.
Yes, yes, correct. Correct. Okay. So correct people who said it is mesolia. So mesoderm is in triploblastic, not in diploblastic. Second, a student discovers a marine animal. See, this is a marine animal with a radial symmetry. So radial symmetry is there. It has also bioluminescent capabilities. It can glow during the night time. So which phylum does it likely to belong? Ctenophora, Porifera, Mollusca or Echinodermata?
Ctenophora, sir.
Ctenophora. Okay.
Sir, echinodermatum.
Okay, Echinodermata. Okay. Anyone else would like to answer? Okay, just go through the concepts. Like I'll provide the PDF, just go through it. So it is,
Explain the answer, sir.
sorry, sorry.
Explain the answer in detail.
Explain what I should explain.
Which answer is correct?
Yes, I'm telling you the answer. So the answer is Ctenophora. So why Ctenophora? So this organism belonging to the phylum Ctenophora, sorry, first what is given in the question? That it is radial symmetry. So the phylum Coelonterata, Echinodermata and Ctenophora exhibit radial symmetry. So Porifera and your Mollusca is out of the picture. Porifera and Mollusca is out of the picture. Now you are left with Ctenophora and Echinodermata. Because first is it is given radial symmetry. Second, it is given bioluminescent. But this Ctenophora, uh, which are commonly known as sea walnut or comb jelly, are exclusively marine, radial symmetry, diploblastic organism with receivable of organization. Can you just mute your mic? The body bears 8 external rows of ciliated comb plate, which help in the locomotion. And the digestion is both extracellular and intracellular. But the important point here is bioluminescence. So bioluminescence is a well-marked capacity or the ability in the ctenophores, not in echinodermata. So radial symmetry brings us down to ctenophora and echinodermata, whereas the bioluminescent capability, hence the answer is ctenophora. And on the right side, you can see this is an example of ctenophora, which is, and the name is Pleurobrachia. So examples are Pleurobrachia and Tinoplana. So Tinoplana belongs to this ctenophore. So uh, bioluminescence is a well-marked property of the ctenophores. So that is the answer, option A. Okay, so that is if you see any question, try to separate the option, the MCQs one by one. So radial symmetry means which what I should first separate. So if you cannot remember all the because this is very huge. So if you cannot just remember all, try to make a order of this and try to remember some of the symmetry. At least this is not very different. Only three phylum has radial symmetry. So from here you can actually figure out a lot of questions because in many questions they give about the symmetry. Is it radial symmetry or bilateral symmetry? If in the question they have asked radial symmetry, then you can easily circle this echinodermata, ctenophora, and nidaria or the coelonterata. From there you can further narrow down your answer. Okay. So the last one, I guess this is the last question. The subclass Tetrapoda, I think most of you know about this. Tetrapoda include animals capable of both terrestrial and aquatic life undergoes metamorphosis. living in both terrestrial and aquatic, which is that mammalia, reptilia, amphibia, and
Sir,
apes.
amphibia.
Yes, correct. Amphibia. So amphibia,
Amphibia.
yes. So example is frog that can live both in land and water. So there's nothing more to tell about here. Amphibia. Okay, since okay, so, sorry, couple of more questions, then we'll be done. Very like basic question: how birds fly, and or what is the unique to the birds that make them adapted for the flight? Is it due to the three-chamber heart, or due to the RBC, or the hollow bones, or the lack of gizzard?
The C option. Hollow bones with the air
Yes, yes.
pockets.
So this is a very basic question. They have hollow bone with the air pocket in those bones. So that is what make their body weight very light and adapted for the flight. So it is option C. Okay, so the last one, the characteristic that distinguishes arthropod from other invertebrates. So arthropoda, how it is different from other invertebrate? Joint
Presence
appendage?
of joint or
Yes,
appendages.
very simple,
Absolutely.
simple question. Yes, correct. So people who said joint appendages, correct. So that is option A. We have joint appendages, arthropoda. So insects form the largest member or the largest phylum of Animalia, which include insect. And this arthropoda is the largest phylum. And they have the organ system level. And they are bilateral symmetry, triploblastic segmented and coelomate animals. The body is covered by chitinous exoskeleton. So this is one important point for the arthropods. Their body is covered by chitinous exoskeleton. They have joint appendages. So that in the question, which has a peculiar about the arthropods, they have joint appendages, and the circulatory system is open. Excretion takes place through Malpighian tubules, and the fertilization is usually internal. So that's all. Uh, Actually, I'm done for the week two. If I just quickly
Sir,
go,
I have a doubt, sir.
yes.
Sir, in the last question, both A and C options are correct.
Okay, just let me see this one. Bilateral symmetry. Okay, this is from the NPTEL team. Just let me see this. Yeah, correct, actually. Uh, Actually, somewhat correct, but somewhat incorrect also. See, it asks, uh, what is the characteristic that distinguishes arthropods?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
so bilateral symmetry can be in others also, but joint appendages is only in particularly in arthropods. So that is the reason why this joint appendages is the answer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So people, I'm done for today. If you have any question, please feel free to ask, or else you are free to leave the meeting. I'll see you all in the next week, Monday.
In next week, which are discussion topic?
Uh, Next week will be week three. Actually, I can before starting, I can answer. I can quickly give you an overview about the origin of life. So you wanted to know, no? So actually, today 2 hours is over. Uh, in the next week, week three, in the beginning 10 minutes, I can tell you about the origin part again. Okay.
And week two, sir.
Sorry.
Week two.
Yeah, this was week two. So I started with week one. So week one is over. This is week two going on. So week two is done. In Next is week three.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you all for joining. I know it was kind of a very long session today. But yeah, it's all about remembering stuff. So yeah, people, thank you all for joining. If you don't have any question, I'll close the session for today.